Olszewski, the Pastoral Associate here at St. James in Menominee Falls, and I'd like to welcome you to the second week of Advent 2010, this online retreat. Do you remember the childhood stories your parents told you? You know what kinds of images were used in those stories? Think about them for a moment. Oftentimes, those stories contained images of animals that talk, animals that did all kinds of human things, or seemingly human things. We had 3 pigs and a wolf. We had 3 bears that slept in different sized beds and ate out of different sized bowls their porridge. And a little girl who came into their house one day. Animals that kind of reflected the human characteristics and teased our imaginations and brought us into a world of fantasy, and yet, as children, we never really questioned that. It all seemed kind of real. Well, in today's first reading from Isaiah, Isaiah uses the images of animals to talk about a new world order that will come when the Messiah comes. In chapter 11, Isaiah proclaims, "Then the wolf shall be the guest of the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. The calf and the young lion shall browse together, with a little child to guide them. The cow and the bear shall be neighbors. Together their young shall rest. The lion shall eat hay like the ox. The baby shall play by the cobra's den, and the child lay his hand on the adder's lair. There shall be no harm or ruin on all my holy mountain." Now, is Isaiah giving us fantasy of these animal images, just the way our parents told us these stories in childhood? Not really, but he's appealing to our imagination. He's taking us beyond the realm of the present into what could be a world of peace and prosperity. Actually, it was a person like Walt Disney who used these kinds of images to build a billion-dollar empire with talking mice and ducks that interacted and a goofy dog. And we have a whole entertainment empire that he built using these images and appealing to our imagination. That is what Isaiah is trying to do for us, to appeal to our imagination of what can be when God enters our lives, the tremendous change that can take place. In the middle of this week, the second week of Advent, we celebrate the feast of the Immaculate Conception of Mary. And the gospel that we use for that day is the gospel of the Annunciation. It is the story of Mary finding out that she is going to be the mother of God. And as that story progresses, Mary just kind of questions and says, how can this be? What's going on? I don't understand it. Just as any young person would truly express those questions and doubts. Well, finally, the angel says, here is another proof for you that this is going to take place, Mary. Your cousin, Elizabeth, who has been barren in her old age, has already conceived. She is pregnant and will give birth to a child. But the angel says to Mary, nothing is impossible with God. Nothing is impossible with God. So even the images that we have of these animals and ferocious animals being with kind and gentle animals like a sheep from Isaiah, and we have a 13-year-old girl who has had no relations with a human, is suddenly pregnant with the Son of God. All these things can be possible. But what's the message for us as we reflect on this week? Well, all things are possible. And especially during Advent, a time that is devoted to establishing and reestablishing relations, we can reflect on the kind of human relationships that we have and what's happening with them. We can take the scene from Isaiah, where the wolf and the lamb, the lion and the lamb, are suddenly friends and can graze together. How about in our family, in our own relationships? Who is the wolf? Who's the lion? Who's the lamb? And how do they get along? Sometimes at this time of the year when we have family gatherings, there are great divisions in families. Sometimes maybe as a child you have difficulty with your parents. You have some old grudges or resentments that you hang on to. Are you able to forgive? This is a time for reestablishing those relationships with people. What about your siblings? How do you get along with them? How about extended family? Maybe you've been in a relationship with someone who betrayed you and hurt you severely. Able to forgive that person. That's what the reading from Isaiah is about. It extends our imagination into the possible, that peace and prosperity, new relationships, new ways of getting along are possible. That is the affirmation that the angel gives to Mary, too. All things are possible with God. So this week I invite you, think about your human relationships. Think about the people in your life. And if there's anyone that you need to forgive, think if you are able to do that this week. Ask for God's help. Ask for God to re-enter into your life, to be born into that relationship again, just the way Christ is preparing to enter into the world again in the celebration of his birth. Think about that. Ask for God's help to forgive or to be forgiven by God or by another person, to reestablish our relationships so that once again we may have that image of Isaiah that draws us out of the human into the realm of great and beautiful relationships that seem beyond our possibility, seem beyond our imagination, but as we are affirmed by the angel, all things are possible. This week, as you think about those relationships, may you be blessed with all the possibilities of love